welcome back to possibly the last installment of PlayStation 5, if we don't kill another one.
QuantumX.
We prepared everything in the middle since the second part, and we did install the PS5 in the block. We used it, tested a little bit.
Yeah.
It works, and now we're gonna do
The build.
a very nice build. Better than medium nice.
I'm quite excited.
I noticed this time we have a power supply with a fan,
Yeah.
which should go better than a power supply with a critical short on the AC, right?
Yeah. This time we decided to use external power supply and just modify the cables, which is easier and probably smarter solution.
Yeah, we were also getting ahead of ourselves a little bit since we had two QuantumX projects that didn't make it to production now. We're really hoping this is the one that breaks through. And so we were thinking about how people would set it up, how they would use the block, if they would use it in the build or if they would build it on its own like we're doing. We thought if we powered it with an ATX power supply, then there's a lot more versatility. You can add an ATX power supply to any PlayStation build, or you can add the PlayStation to any ATX build.
Exactly. You could have a build with a standard PC and a PlayStation in one case. Yeah, what else do we have here? These are some sort of, this is a power cable. This is the modified power cable from the PlayStation, from the stock PlayStation connector to the power supply. So we're gonna be needing that. This is just the cable extensions for the USB cable. These are some standoffs, RGB splitter. We have external RGB controller since we could not use the RGB controller from the PS motherboard itself. We have PWM controller. Of course, we have our standard fittings. Two fans, 240 radiator, a reservoir, a power supply like Joe mentioned, and some additional cables that we're gonna need. And of course, tubing and some more RGB. We're gonna use the Regentech Pan Slim case. We made a few modifications to it. As you might see later, we cut a big hole in the top of it and we replaced it with a glass panel. So it's more like a showpiece kind of thing.
Yeah, we really want to like see everything at the same time so that you know it's a loop and you can visually really easily see like how the loop works, how it's connected, so that if you've not even seen a custom loop PC before, it still looks obviously like radically custom.
Yeah, exactly. And we also have this cover, which is gonna cover all the cable management and everything we do underneath the components, so it's gonna look clean as possible.
So radiator size?
It's a 240 radiator.
Is that, do we think that's gonna be like excessive for the PlayStation? Is it like overkill spec?
Yeah, it's a bit excessive.
Okay.
It's a bit excessive. As far as we tested it, the PlayStation could work. The limit is the slim 120 radiator on the full blast on 100 PWM. If you use 240 slim radiator, it's efficient enough, but this is the P, so the thicker one, and it's good enough.
That's pretty good. I mean, it looks tiny compared with what you'd expect for a custom loop now.
Yeah, especially with all this.
Never do a build with just one radiator.
Yeah, it's
just
not even enough for the CPU nowadays. So, but it's good enough for the PlayStation, we're sure.
So I guess it's time to clear the desk and strip the case down. Start putting things inside.
Yeah.
And so the last stage of QuantumX PS5 saga begins. It's looking good, for now. But you know how it is with PC modding. It never goes according to plan, and whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Let us know in the comments what you think will be Martin's and Joe's biggest pain in this episode.
Okay, we roughly positioned all the components, or the essential components, except for the, of course, power supply. So this is roughly how it's gonna look. First of all, we're gonna have to mount all the key components, the reservoir, radiator, and the PlayStation itself, and the power supply. Then we're gonna have to route the cables, all the wiring and stuff. After that, the whole cover plate goes on. We screw on the two fans and assemble the loop. Okay, we just test fitted all the components. Hopefully we're not gonna have to disassemble everything later on if we forget something.
Yeah, as you saw, we had a custom plate there for the first time. That's a steel plate?
Yeah, that's a steel plate that covers the cable
so
management.
Most stuff has to go under that. So before that comes in, we need to have finished all the wiring of the whole build. And even if something goes on the top, like the fans and the power button and the LEDs, we need to have laid them out.
Exactly.
At least, so that the wire comes past it, and we can fasten that in. And then the fans go on
onto that
and actually hold
plate.
it.
Yeah. And after the mounting plate is mounted, then we assemble the loop. So if we figure out that we forgot something after we assemble the loop, then we're gonna have to tear everything apart. Now we're gonna have to screw the base of the bottom plate, or the base, or the bottom plate of the base of the case, so we can assemble everything inside the middle section of the case.
While you are watching Martin's and Joe's trial and error odyssey from the comfort of your chair with relaxing music and time lapse with 3000% speed, it is time to hit that subscribe button. We are closing to 50K subscribers, and we have something special for you. Now, don't be shy. Subscribe.
Okay, the cable management is roughly done. I mean, there's the tiny bit things that we can do, but now we're gonna have to wait for Joe. So we're gonna go for a lunch break right now, and when we come back, we're gonna finish the cables. We're gonna mount the top IO cover, and then we're gonna assemble the loop.
QuantumX.
We're back. Joe is back.
Oh, we're back.
Yeah, we're back.
I wasn't gone.
He was gone. Well, we are gonna have to continue our build. Right now, we're gonna have to put our PVN controller in.
Yeah, Martin's still avoiding doing any cable management.
I tried my best. Come on.
Tried.
Well, it's a lot of cables. Well, I could do a bit more pre-preparation for it.
Okay, when they're all in there, we'll like lay them out tight from the back, so it's at least nice here.
When the cover is on,
cable tie them behind the front out of view.
Yeah. We can hide away.
And then put the cover on.
Yeah.
So no one gets surprised when they take it off.
Yeah. They might get scared. Scared away. Okay, well, we're gonna have to put the PVN controller in, and then we're gonna have to put the cover on. Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna have to make sure everything is connected. Yeah.
Yeah, because the PlayStation has no gradual PWM out. It just like switches all at once, right? It just goes from like minimum to 50 to.
Yeah, it does, but it also has a really high threshold. That's the problem. It has to heat up quite a bit to even start raising the PWM curve. I mean, we've tested this, and the coolant had around 65 degrees Celsius before it even started to ramp up the PWM. Yeah. So it's a bit, Yeah. So we're gonna use this guy to just statically set
one fan curve that works nicely because there's really no point. It's always loaded about the same.
Exactly.
It's not like a PC that you would have it idle for hours.
Exactly. And like we told you before, it's not really so demanding for the cooling part, so it doesn't have to be ramped up really high.
Okay. So we'll put this somewhere down by the old I/O hole where we can reach the. Yep. We can glue it to the bottom there.
Yep. We're gonna have to find the tape. Do we have double-sided tape?
Do we have tape?
Do we have tape?
Do we have tape? Okay, so up to now, we've put everything in the case. It's all mounted properly and screwed through what is the kind of internal part of the chassis. All those screws are gonna get covered by the base when we put it back onto its feet. So that's why we're working to finish all the cables and complete the electrics part of it. When that's done, the cover goes on the top. It gets sandwiched by the fans and it screws to the same holes that the top panel comes on when the case goes back together. And then we'll be building the loop all on the top side. So all our electricals are like under the plate and all of our coolant and pretty stuff is on top of the plate.
And now the cable management.
Yes, cable management.
Yes. Cable management, yes. Okay, so what's your plan?
Well, there's a finite number of cable ties. What was that loose thing? Sounded like a screw falling out.
No, I think it was just this PCB right here.
So everything's plugged in.
Everything is plugged in.
You don't want to know what I just saw.
No.
You do not want to know what I just saw.
No. I don't want to know what you just saw.
Turn it over.
No, Joe, you didn't see that. And both of them.
Both of them fell off.
Both of them fell off. Of course they did. Well, for the camera, yeah, the antenna connectors got unplugged. Long story short, we didn't want to disassemble everything, so we tried to plug it, and we succeeded, and we plugged it in from behind.
Yeah, the case, the middle panel of the case is made of like 6mm holes, and we managed to, one of us lined it up and the other one just pushed it with an extended iFixit back onto its little socket. But the problem is, like, those tiny wires now have big wires wrapping through them, and you pull on a big wire to put it in a nice place, and it just rips out the antennas because someone didn't want to do any cable management. Just saying.
Oh well. Oh well, it's gonna work. Don't worry.
And here goes another time lapse. Please let us know in the comments if that kind of format with this long sequences suits you. We just don't want you to miss anything in the process. Oh, and by the way, thanks for subscribing.
We just put in the top cover and we hide all the cables underneath, all the horrible...
Yeah, it's gone now, forget about it.
Horrible mess, yeah, we can forget about it.
There.
But it looks really clean right now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like all this, all the positions and the whole looks of it.
Yeah, so the reason we had all the standoffs in the beginning to set the height of everything was we now have like a level deck of the block, the pump, and the radiator, so we're not going to have to change heights of the tubes. Yep. It's just going to be like a 2D loop. It's amazing.
Exactly. So now we're just going to have to figure out how we're going to fix this LED strip, and then...
With its glue.
With its glue, yeah, but hopefully it's going to be straight and it's just not
Once we put it on, can we still take it apart? Yeah.
Yeah.
You still get that out without breaking it.
Yeah, we can.
Stick it on.
Okay.
We were gonna make these two come across together, so that they don't kind of interrupt the lights and the coolant and everything that's on that block. So they're gonna come out together to the right, and then when they come to the bottom, they will split away from each other. And in these are in a straight line now. The ports on the reservoir and the ports on the radiator in a straight line.
Yep.
So they will come around and part left and right.
Exactly.
And then one tube will go all the way from the
radiator to reservoir, and that's it.
All the way across the end.
Exactly. We're just gonna make a simple single loop, and that's it.
And you're using this as the return port.
Exactly.
Instead of the drain port, so the flow is the right direction.
And the block itself is made in such a way that the coolant goes first on the front side and then on the back side, like on the active backplate. Then it exits on this port and then it goes to the radiator and so on. Okay, let's get to work. We just screw in the fittings, and now we're gonna have to cut the tubes to length.
Yeah, we started with the shortest one. You should always start with the longest one. We started with the shortest one, just because it's straight. Then we can work out the bent ones.
Yeah,
it's hard to work out the length of the bent one from nothing.
And this is probably the most logical way to do it, yeah.
QuantumX's PS5 is getting its final form. It's all straightforward from this point. What could go wrong from here?
Ah, guess what you forgot, Mr. Stopper?
No.
HDMI cable.
Oh, we forgot to plug in the HDMI cable or extender. So the thing we wanted to avoid the most, well, we're gonna have to disassemble everything again and
not quite everything, but all the tubes.
A lot of it. This time the HDMI cable is plugged in,
so we can put the cover, back on.
I hope we didn't miss anything else. Did we?
I don't think so, but like, at least I saw it. If not, it would have had coolant in and it would have been tomorrow. Yeah. And you would have been like, let's play a game.
Much worse situation, yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
Let's say that's
a game called plug in a HDMI cable through this tiny hole.
Yeah.
Sideways.
Yeah, sideways and really far, far away. Okay, can you pass me the cover? It fell in. Joe, it fell in.
In what? You've got a giant cover to stop that happening.
I know, but it's not working.
Is that the third time? Why are you dropping it?
I don't know.
What, in there?
In between, yeah. Come on.
If it does what again? If what happens again? See, my screws are big.
Yeah, smart. Well, that's what I get for putting the smallest possible screw. And nut.
With each step, Martin and Joe are closer to the finished build. If of course Martin didn't forget anything else, and they will have to tear the build down. Again. and start from the beginning? Again, let's wait and see.
Well, the loop is assembled. Right now we're gonna have to leak test if everything is sealing, so let's go ahead and do that. The loop is assembled. Now we can fill it up, right, Joe?
Yeah, if everything's plugged in, we can fill it up.
We can, yeah. We
Yeah.
performed the leak test and it was holding well. It was sealing, so we can fill it up.
Yeah, obviously it's going to be a slightly different than a PC because the PSU is essentially permanently on.
Yes.
And rather than having a momentary switch like you would have with a motherboard, we have a switch that stays in place and keeps the power supply running. Hence
Exactly.
it keeps the pump running, the fans running, the lights running.
Yeah.
Whether the PSU, PlayStation
Yeah.
is on or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's not going to come on, but it's going to get power, so it could come on,
Exactly.
but it won't.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to turn it on. The PlayStation works in such a way that the power supply is always on, so you just have to. Basically, it's always in a sleep state. That's how it works. Okay, let's fill the bottle up.
Coming in.
Yay! Powered up.
Yeah, powered up. Slowly.
Slow.
Slowly.
Yeah, it's slowly.
Okay, bring up the speed. Don't slow it down once you bring it up, otherwise it could fall back out.
Yeah, but otherwise it would just pull the bubbles.
That's okay, do it anyway.
It's filling up.
Leave it at that level till I've got more.
Behold!
This one, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Cool.
Awesome. I'm really glad how this turned out.
QuantumX.
We're done.
We're done.
It's filled. Obviously, as soon as we hit the power button on the case, the power supply runs and the loop runs. But we've not actually turned the PlayStation on.
Yeah.
So we need to, well, we will find out if everything's connected.
Yeah. Hopefully everything works. So we're just gonna have to press this button and we're good to go.
Boop. Yeah, it's the beep.
It's the beep. Now we just gonna wait for the screen to come up.
Game time. Game time.
It's working. It's working.
Yay.
Awesome. Well, do you want to play a game?
We're done. Yeah.
Which game do you want to play?
We can just go now.
We can just go home.
Woo.
Well, our job here is done. See ya.
Whee!
Okay, well, I guess we brought this QuantumX project to an end. It had its ups and downs, mostly downs. We had quite a lot of issues, but well, we didn't give up, and I think we ended up with a really cool product. And this is also kind of whole mentality of QuantumX, you know. We wanted to show you everything that could go wrong, everything that went wrong. But like I said, in the end, we end up with a really cool project, and we hope that you like it. And we're also proud to say that we're going to be launching this soon. So be sure to check out our website. Our shop is going to be available in a similar state. It's not going to be identical. We're going to simplify it a bit for the user to power it up more simply, but the general design is going to stay the same. So stay tuned for that one. And yeah, that's it for this QuantumX project. I'm really glad I was a part of it. I'm really glad how it turned out, and
we're ready for the next one.
We're ready for the next one. Yeah.
I've seen all along every project, everyone wanted us to do something really small. So I'm quite sure the next one is going to be a tiny PC of some form.
Maybe. Stay tuned.